we're going to talk about being an entrepreneur or a business owner, being somebody that has a business that they're running, really is kind of a 24/7 job, and all the stuff that entails. And then kind of let you guys know that everybody's all gung-ho on entrepreneurship right now and have a business and so on and so forth. I guess not everyone, but a lot of people are.
It's very popular.
It's popular right now. It's suddenly become popular. It wasn't
Yeah.
popular 14 years ago when we started, but
Right.
it is possible to have a job, and hopefully one that you really, really like, and go beyond that job, use the revenue that you're earning there, and invest in some stuff outside of it, and set yourself on whatever your path is. If you want to retire early, you just want to have extra money, so even though your job only gives you four weeks
vacation
per year, you can take another 4 weeks. They'll let you take another 4 weeks if you want unpaid, but you have the money coming in from other places to pay for it. I mean, that's an
Right.
option that people could do. So we'll go into that, but basically, entrepreneur, business owners, we definitely know that. We've been doing it for 14 years, so I think being an entrepreneur it's like you trade in a 40-hour work week job where you know that you're going to get paid for a
60 to 80-hour work week.
or whatever you let it be / whatever it takes.
I mean, you get to choose really how much
You
you
get
work.
to choose, but whatever it takes, especially when you're starting,
Yeah, when you're starting, it's sometimes more.
and there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's so much. But when you're doing something you love, it's fun.
there's a pride in ownership. There's a pride in ownership of being an entrepreneur.
Like, we work a lot, but we choose when we work, I guess. Even though we might work more than 40 hours a week, but
Feel like
it doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it.
Right. But there are and again, there's all these details that you have to take care of. Like depending on the size of your business, but really that doesn't even matter, because you still got to make sure everybody's doing everything they need to do. If you're an employee, you're responsible for, if you're an engineer some stuff. If you're the accountant for the business, or the accountant, that's what you work as, then you're doing accounting. If you're marketing, then you're doing the marketing for the business that you work for. But as an entrepreneur, you have to make sure the accounting's done. I mean, we have an accountant, but we still got to get them all the stuff over. I still look at our profit and loss. I still look at our balance sheet. I want to know what that stuff looks like all the time, and you do too. Like, you like to see that stuff. And marketing, we do our own marketing.
Yeah.
But even if we outsource it, which we've looked at a couple of times, still got to look at it. I got to make sure that if we're
You
paying
approve
them,
it, yeah.
they're doing what I paid them to do, and I got to make sure that I approve of what they're coming up with. Paying the bills, which is, again, comes back to accounting. Like, you have to do that. You have to make sure, if you have a physical product, you have to make sure that you're ordering it in time for it to get here to deliver to your customers, and you have the finances situated in order to do that, and that you have them when they come in, that it's all good and ready to go. Doesn't it sound like fun to be an entrepreneur?
I was like, are you telling him not to be?
No,
you just
but
have to enjoy the you don't have to enjoy the ups and downs, but you have to know that there's ups and downs and be able to
yeah, we're
handle them.
I think it's super glorified at this point, but you have to know all this stuff that's involved in being an entrepreneur, which is why we're talking to you guys about it, that maybe you haven't thought about if you've never tried to own a business before. But what you get in return is you get unlimited opportunity.
Yeah.
If you're a employee, and I don't care what anybody tells you, if you're an employee, if you're my employee or you're somebody else's, I want to know how much money I can make off of what you do. If you're my accountant, then I need to earn more revenue, and you need to free up more time for me to go earn revenue beyond it. In marketing, you have to earn me revenue, and there's a limit to how much I can pay you. If I'm going to pay you $100,000 a year, I want you to bring me in $200,000 or $300,000 a year above and beyond what I'm paying. It's just that's part of being an entrepreneur. So there's a ceiling for an employee. When you're an entrepreneur,
there is no ceiling.
There is no ceiling, and there's also the pride. There's just a pride in saying, I always say, you eat what you kill. I think there's a pride in being I did this. I did whatever it took. But you have to be a person that's interested in that wants that, I think. So And if you do it and you make a good plan and you pay attention to the details, and then you can put together a plan for your business where you can spend minimal time on it at some point, and you can get some freedom. And if you build the right kind of business, you can get location freedom. So you can get those three things. I think that's the benefit of being an entrepreneur. On the flip side, you can still do that as an employee.
Well, I think there's a difference between two entrepreneurs. There's entrepreneurs that have a plan and they can create a more time freedom and location freedom for themselves, more time with their family, more vacation. And then there's entrepreneurs that don't have a plan and they just end up working and working and working and working. So definitely have a plan. And if you've never owned a business before, I highly recommend getting a business coach to kind of walk you through the steps. Somebody who's already been there, somebody who's experienced it, and somebody knows how to kind of guide you through it, because that's going to save you a lot of headache for sure. But you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur to set up, what you want to do. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
you can still,
you're only limited by your belief in what you can do. And I mean, we actually are coaches. Like, if you want to ask some questions, we'll do our best to help. If you have an idea, we'll try to offer some clarity. We can't help everybody that asks us. We just don't have enough time in the day, but we definitely, we want to know what you guys are doing, and we'll try to help as much as we can.
But I mean, we have friends, and they're a power couple, and one of them is an entrepreneur, and she wants to be a lawyer. Like, that's what she wants to do. So I don't know if she's going to own her own firm or not, but I mean, that's an example of someone who wants to follow their passion and might be an employee.
Right. Yeah, so he's an entrepreneur and she's an attorney, and she wants to go work for a law firm. Absolutely. But really, as an employee, it's not a lot different in some respects in terms of how you get to financial freedom than being an entrepreneur. Like, live on less than you earn. Like, protect your resources. I mean, if I give you a cow, are you going to go slaughter the cow and turn it into car seats, fancy car seats, or are you going to save it and try to see if you can make some more cows to sell later and get bread or get milk and butter and sell those things and earn some revenue off of it? Money's really no different. If you turn it into car seats, it makes you nothing. If you use it in the same way that the metaphorical cow is, then you can earn something off of it. You can turn it into more cows, more milk, more butter. So money's the same way. People just don't consider it that way. Most employees get stuck in this idea of, well, I know what I'm getting paid 2 weeks from now, so I can just go do all this and I'll buy it with debt. And entrepreneurs do too. But I go do this, and the fastest way for an employee to retire extremely quickly is if, every year you're probably going to get a raise. Depending on where you're at, you should get a raise, especially in the beginning. If you never did anything but just invest 10% plus add every single year that money, you could retire in 10 years and make just as much money as you're making. I mean, you legitimately could. So I think that's kind of the difference between being an employee and being an entrepreneur. But I think as an employee, you got to look in that sector of investing, and you have to also do the same thing that entrepreneurs do. You can take less risk on some level, but you have to educate yourself. There's a way larger world out there than just throwing your money into a 401k or an IRA in the stock market, and you don't pay any attention to it. You don't think about it other than you put the money in there, and periodically you look and see what it went out to. You can buy stocks on your own through your own account and learn how to do it and learn how to do it right. You can learn how to buy real estate. You can be a passive investor. We have a friend that has a great job and he passively invests in businesses. He doesn't want to know what's going on. He wants to give them the money because he thinks that they're going to do well, that they have a good business idea, and then he wants his capital to get returned to him someday in the future times 10. So you can do those things, but you have to educate yourself on that and what the opportunities are.
To sum it up, you can achieve your dreams whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur.
Right.
Entrepreneur, the ceiling is, limitless. Employee, it's a little more limited. Your funds are, how much you can make is a little more limited, but doesn't mean that you can't do it. You just have to have a plan.
Yep. Again,
So,
I guess we're
It all comes back to having
It
a
all
plan.
comes back to having a plan.
Yeah.
Once again, every video, it always comes back to having a plan. But it's true. People don't like to hear they don't like to hear the 10%, the 20% that matters. They want to hear the 80% that's cool stuff. I drive a Ferrari, but quite frankly, the Ferrari doesn't get you anywhere. A plan gets you everywhere.
Yeah.